So you have a teenager and you want what's best for them, but sometimes you just don't know what to do. I mean, we've all been there, right? Well, welcome to How to Be the Parent That Your Teenager Needs You to Be, where with each episode we explore the issues, the questions, the concerns, and the challenges that you face as a parent with a teenager. If your goal is to empower your teenager to be their absolute best, well, you've come to the right place. Well, in today's episode, we're going to talk about the power of community. And I'd like to share 3 different ways that your community can impact you, your teenager, and your life experience. So let's get started. Well, hello again, everyone. My name is Jim White, and I'm an author, coach, and the founder of the Family Enrichment Academy. And today we're going to be talking about the power of community. But before we get started, I did want to share one other thing with you, or one other item. I have a free resource for you. One of the most common questions I get from parents is, how do I get my teenager to open up and talk more? Well, the secret is to ask better questions. And so this free resource, I have 10 questions you should never ask your teenager. Think of these as like conversation killers. And then I have 10 great questions as well. Again, this is a free resource. You'll see a link down in the description below, or you can just go to our website, FamilyEnrichmentAcademy.com, and right there on the home page, you'll be prompted to enter your email and be able to download that list. So be sure to check that out. So on to our topic for today, the power of community. Let me start off, I'll ask a couple of questions. Have you ever been around someone who's just negative? They're always complaining or blaming other people for what's going on in their life? Well, on the flip side, have you been around people that are positive, upbeat, optimistic? So the question is, what happens when those people enter a room? How do they impact the room? Well, the reason this came up, I actually, this past weekend, had an opportunity and had an experience that really speaks to the power of community. What happened was I was able to attend a conference that a health and wellness company was putting on. It's a company that my wife represents. Now, we've been around this company for a little while, so we've developed a group of friends, and we see them. They're from all over the country, and whenever we go to one of these conferences, a chance to reconnect in person with some of these friends. And the amazing thing is that this group is just the most, they're very love-centered. They view the world through loving eyes, if you will. They see the good in people. They think abundantly, and they're very optimistic. And so consequently, whenever I'm around this group, it's interesting. I find myself being pulled into that, or reconnecting, if you will, with my love-based mindset. And when I'm around them, it just gets easier to feel gratitude or compassion or forgiveness. And the other thing that's interesting is that when, as I've left that, we left that environment, it's just there's a sense of energy that comes from being around people like that. And again, so it's a very powerful, and I feel like it's a powerful community for me to be around. And as I left there, I just thought, this is something I should share and maybe talk about how community and how you're surrounding, the people you're surrounding yourself with, how it can impact you. And so there are these 3 different ways in which you're affected by the community or the people that you're surrounded by. And I wanted to, at least these are the ones I observed coming out of this weekend. And that's what I wanted to share today. So the first thing that really kind of popped up for me is this idea of instilling belief. And what I mean by that is you're probably familiar with the idea of limiting beliefs, right? Well, on the flip side of that, there can be empowering beliefs as well. And what I noticed is that we tend to take on the beliefs, or we sort of move towards or gravitate towards the beliefs of the community that we're surrounded with. And so like with this group that I was with last weekend, the whole idea of abundance, for example, or the belief that people are fundamentally good and that they're meant to experience purpose and joy in their life, that's what I connect with when I'm around this group. So this first way in which your community impacts you is that you tend to take on and they instill belief in you. So item number 1. Now, the next thing I noticed, and these are interrelated, is the idea of mindset. And again, this is one of the key fundamentals that we talk about here at the Family Enrichment Academy with our parents, is the idea of trying to be intentional about your mindset. And the two fundamental mindsets are fear-based or love-based. And what I noticed and what I would assert is that we tend, just like with the beliefs, we tend to gravitate or move towards the mindset of the community. And so again, with this group that we were around this past weekend, they were very love-based. And so I found myself being pulled even deeper, again, reconnecting with my love-based mindset and those love-based beliefs as well. So they have a big, your community can have a big impact on your mindset. And then the final way that it can impact you is just from a pure energy level. I mean, again, think about if you know somebody that's, I'll call it their sort of low energy, if you will. They tend to drag people down. Again, they're maybe negative, complaining, and they just are a drain, if you will, on their environment. And when you're around those kind of people, you find yourself, it's easy to get pulled into that. But on the flip side, in this group that we were with this past weekend, high energy people that are optimistic and they bring with them that energy, you tend to get pulled into that as well. And so you can be, that has a big impact. That community can have an impact on your energy also. And I will say, I left this group and now we're back home, I'm still energized. That kind of comes with you. You sort of maintain, it's like charging your battery, if you will. So, and actually an analogy I'd like to throw out is when you think about the community, this, their beliefs, their mindset, and their energy, the analogy is it's kind of like a river or the current in a river. If you think about it, if you get into a river that has a fast current, you just can't help but get sort of pulled into that current and pulled downstream, if you will. So that's just 3 things I wanted to mention and have you put a little thought into your community, which actually leads to the last part for today, and that is the FEA Hero Challenge. Here's what I'm going to challenge you to do. Over the next week, I want you to do an assessment of the different communities that you're involved with and the people that you spend time with. And I want you to create 2 lists. I want you to have a list of what identify people as either being more fear-based or love-based and put them on their, the 2 respective lists. And so you're, again, being intentional about that list. And then the next step of the challenge, and I want you to try to act on this week, is to try to develop a plan for spending less time with people in communities that are fear-based on your list and investing more of your time with the people in communities that are love-based. So what we're trying to do is be intentional. And again, it's not going to be 100%, but if you were, say, 50-50, half the time with the fear-based community, half the time with the love-based community, find a way next week to maybe make that 60-40, shift yourself a little bit and, tip that scale, if you will. So that's the challenge for the week. Now, something else that's come up when I've sort of put this challenge to other people or people that I coach with is they will create their 2 lists, and the fear-based community is a long list, and there just aren't very many names on their love-based community or love-based people. And so if your list is a little bit short, you can supplement that with things like books. Find a good book that by somebody that can help bring that love energy to you, or a podcast, or maybe join a community, which actually that's one of the benefits of the Family Enrichment Academy membership, is that we have a community within that membership, and the goal is for that community to be love-based. So that could be a community that you could plug into if you don't have a lot just in your normal circles. So you can always plug into those other areas if you find that your list of love-based people and communities is a little bit short. So anyway, that's your challenge for the week. And I hope you can take that on and dive in and be intentional about it. So before we sign off today, I did want to remind you that I do have that resource for you, those 10 questions that you should never ask your teenager, and then those 10 great questions as well. So be sure to check that out. And it's interesting, going through this exercise and talking and putting together this episode in a blog post kind of reminded me of why I started and founded the Family Enrichment Family Enrichment Academy in the first place. And it really all starts with this belief that I have that all of us deserve to be surrounded by people that empower us to be our absolute best. And that's important because we all deserve to experience peace, joy, purpose, and love in our lives. And I really firmly believe this. And when you think about it, the family is the most natural place for this to happen. And so it was sort of out of that belief, that's what inspired me to start the Family Enrichment Academy. And really, when you look at, we provide education, coaching, all that sort of thing, but really it all boils down to one thing. I mean, our goal really is just to be able, and my goal, I should say it's my goal, to be able to walk alongside of you on your journey and hopefully be a source of inspiration and hope. That's what it's all about, because you deserve that. We all deserve that, and to have that kind of support within our community and the people that we engage with. So anyway, I just wanted to share that as well as we wrap up today's episode. So remember, until next time, a change in perspective changes everything.